We are living in an age overflowing with information, but starved of inner stillness. Every day, we are surrounded by reminders of what we lack, what we don't yet have, and what we must strive harder to attain. In that relentless cycle, gratitude, a core virtue of the inner life, slowly fades into the background. But to a Stoic mind, gratitude is not just a courtesy or a fleeting emotion. It is a deliberate choice, a way of life. Gratitude is the key that aligns us with the infinite abundance of the universe. When we shift our mindset from scarcity to sufficiency, we transform the way we see the world. And when our perspective changes, our reality follows. We are no longer beggars, pleading for life to be kind. We become receivers, aware of the gifts that have always been there. Taking time to reflect on both the grand and the ordinary is a quiet act of rebellion against the negativity that floods our society. Whether it's a peaceful morning, a refreshing glass of water, or a warm memory, each one is a reminder that you already have more than you think. And in those moments, your dreams are no longer distant. They begin to move towards you naturally as the result of deep and enduring gratitude. In this video, I'm going to share with you 9 things, both big and small, that we should all be thankful for. Because sometimes, it's through that very gratitude that what we've long wished for finally begins to find its way to us. Number 1, the power of gratitude. Have you ever felt like you're running an endless race, only for the finish line to keep moving further away? Do you ever open your eyes in the morning and instantly feel overwhelmed by all the things you don't have, the things you're missing, the goals you still haven't reached? If so, then maybe it's time to pause, take a deep breath, and return to something that may seem small but has the power to transform your entire life. Gratitude. Gratitude isn't about denying ambition. It doesn't ask you to stop dreaming or give up striving. On the contrary, gratitude is how you retrain your perception, how you learn to see more clearly what's already in front of you instead of fixating on what's beyond your control. When you're grateful, your attention shifts back to the present. You're no longer driven by a sense of lack, but nourished by a sense of enough. And from that feeling, a quiet but profound shift begins to take place. When you truly recognize the value of what you already have, a good friend, a roof over your head, a sunny afternoon, you begin to feel a deeper connection to the world around you. You're no longer a stranger lost in an indifferent universe. You belong here. And that feeling of belonging becomes the solid ground on which you live out your virtues: integrity, patience, compassion, and courage. Take ownership of yourself, act with reason, and meet reality with a calm heart. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of Rome, opened Meditations, the Stoic classic, not with complaints or commands, but with something unexpected, a list of things he was grateful for. Amidst war, rebellion, and plague, he began not with despair, but with appreciation for his parents, his teachers, his friends, and the soldiers who stood beside him. He understood that only when the soul is anchored in gratitude can a person stand firm in the storm. You don't need to be an emperor to practice gratitude. You just need to pause. Really look at your life. What you have today might once have been something you desperately wished for. Thank it. Thank yourself for making it this far. And from that foundation, you can keep moving forward, no longer haunted by what you haven't achieved. When you're grateful, you're not just radiating a positive frequency that the universe can feel. You're also creating the perfect inner environment for good things to grow. You act from a place of fullness, not fear. You make decisions with a clear mind, untouched by fleeting desires. And when you live that way, the things you truly need will find their way to you, not because you chase them, but because you're ready to receive them. Start now. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Think of 3 things you're most grateful for today. Feel them, hear them, see them, touch them with all your senses. That is the first gift you give yourself. And it's also the first step toward living a life where you're no longer running after anything, because everything essential has already begun to find its way to you. Number 2, set a good intention. James Clear, the best-selling author of Atomic Habits, once shared that his goal wasn't to sell millions of books. His only goal, every single day, was simply to write 2 good pages. He didn't set grand expectations beyond his reach. Instead, he poured all his energy into the one thing he could control: his actions today. It was his commitment, not ambition, that led him to extraordinary success. This mindset might sound modern, but in truth, it reflects the core spirit of Stoicism. While many people today set intentions to attract things or to pull the universe toward them, Stoics set intentions simply to live rightly, in harmony with the rational order that governs the universe. They don't declare, "Everything you want will come to you." Instead, they ask, "How should I live today to be worthy of it if it comes, or remain at peace if it never does?" A Stoic doesn't write goals like, "I will land my dream job," or "I will earn $1 billion. They ask different questions. Can I be more patient? Can I act with integrity even when no one is watching? Can I stand firm even when everything around me shakes? Every intention is centered on inner character, because they understand this is the one thing no one, not even fate, can take from you. When you set the right intention, not to get something, but to become someone, you stop being a passive participant in life. You don't need to harness the universe's energy. You walk with it. Logos, the rational force that orders the world, moves on whether you beg it or not. And when you align yourself with it, you no longer need to demand results. The results will come, or they won't, but you remain grounded, moving forward free. So replace the question, "How do I get what I want?" with "How must I live today to be worthy of it, or even to surpass it?" Not to please the universe, but to stay true to yourself. Sounds abstract? In reality, setting Stoic-style intentions is anything but. It's the foundation of every sustainable habit and every lasting transformation. When you're no longer driven by the highs of hope or the lows of disappointment, you start acting out of principle, not outcome. And that's what makes you strong, free, and trustworthy in the eyes of others, and in your own conscience. Now that you understand why setting the right intention is so essential, you might be wondering, so where do I begin? The answer is simple, though not easy. Start with gratitude, not the polite, forced kind, but a conscious daily act. Sound familiar? You'll be surprised at its real power when paired with Stoic philosophy. Let's explore that further in the next part, where we learn the art of staying calm in a world that always demands more. Number 3, practice gratitude every day. Have you ever woken up feeling like everything is missing? Missing time, missing money, missing motivation, even missing the belief that your dreams could actually come true? If so, you're not alone. But there is a different path, a surprisingly simple one that we often overlook: gratitude. Gratitude isn't just a polite gesture, it's a way of life. You can start practicing it today with one simple action. Every morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for. It could be the good night's sleep you just had, A caring message from someone? Or simply the morning sunlight streaming through your window? Arianna Huffington, founder of the Huffington Post, once shared that she starts every day with 3 things she's grateful for. Some days, the only thing she could write was, "I'm still alive." But you know what? That's where it begins. From what we already have, we build a positive state to welcome more. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This quote not only reflects the Stoic spirit, but also underlines the foundation of gratitude practice. Instead of focusing on what we lack, we shift how we see what's already here. When you feel enough, you emit a different frequency, a frequency of contentment and appreciation. And the universe, like a mirror, reflects that same energy back to you in ways you never expected. Gratitude doesn't require anything elaborate. Just sit down, be still, and be honest with yourself. It doesn't have to be something big, it just needs to be real. When you write those first lines in your gratitude journal, you're sending a signal. I'm ready to see what's good. And from that moment, the good begins to grow. But gratitude doesn't end in the morning. Evening is a perfect time to reflect and strengthen that inner journey. Before going to sleep, take a few minutes to self-reflect. What did you do well today? What could you improve? You can write it down or just think it quietly in your mind. But do it, because in that moment, you become your own observer. One of the core traits of someone living the Stoic way is self-awareness. No judgment, no blame, just awareness and adjustment. When you repeat this every day, morning gratitude, evening reflection, you begin to tune your life's frequency. You gradually step out of resistance and anxiety and into presence and receptivity. Like a door that only opens when you stop trying to break it down and instead gently turn the handle and push. You don't have to believe in anything mystical. Stoicism doesn't ask for belief. It asks for practice. Just try it for 7 days. Write what you're grateful for. Reflect on yourself. And notice what shifts, not just outside, but in your own mind. Because when you change the way you see, everything around you begins to move too. Have you ever tried keeping a gratitude journal? Or do you have a morning or evening ritual that helps you live better? Share it in the comments, because your story might be the motivation someone out there really needs. Number 4, cultivate a gratitude mindset. What do you think you still need to be happy? A better job, more money, an ideal relationship? Maybe you're waiting for that moment when everything finally feels in place. Only then will you allow yourself to feel grateful. But pause for a moment. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and you've lost your hearing. No more music. No more laughter. No more loving voices. Or one day, someone dearest to you is suddenly gone, and you never got the chance to say, "Thank you." Would that sense of loss make you want to return to this very moment and embrace everything you have now, even the smallest things? That's what negative visualization is about. One of the most powerful tools in Stoic philosophy. When you imagine losing what's familiar, your mind wakes up. It forces you to realize, I'm living in the very things I once wished for. And it's in that moment of fearing loss that you begin to learn deep gratitude. Not because your life is perfect, but because you start to see it as strangely complete. If you truly look, the modern world constantly pushes you to chase something new, something better, faster, bigger. But here's the truth. You don't need more to feel grateful. You just need to see differently. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach you to deny suffering. On the contrary, It encourages you to face hardship head-on, like mental strength training, where you build resilience, patience, and maturity. They call it amor fati, to love your fate. Not because everything is great, but because everything happens for a reason. When you start seeing failure as part of the universe's training program, you stop blaming so much. Instead, you begin to thank each stumble because they shape the strong person you're becoming. So can you feel grateful even for your sadness? You can. Because gratitude isn't a feeling reserved for when life is easy. It's a deliberate choice of perspective, even in struggle. Tim Ferriss, one of the most influential authors of the 21st century, once shared the technique of fear setting, writing down the worst-case scenarios before making a big decision. It didn't make him more afraid. It made him more aware, more grounded in the value of what he already had. You can do the same. Imagine losing your current job. You'd suddenly see how even a kind email from your boss or a colleague's everyday smile is actually a gift. You begin to realize everything you have today was once something you dreamed of. Gratitude isn't passive. It's the frequency you choose to live on each day. When you broadcast the frequency of gratitude, the universe responds with abundance. You're not holding your breath, waiting for life to be perfect before you feel good. You exhale gratitude, and that alone draws what's right for you effortlessly. No rushing, no competing. You attract what you need because you're already ready on the inside. And if you're hearing this right now, if you still have eyes to read, a mind to think, you already have so much to be thankful for. So pause. Take a deep breath and whisper, "Thank you." Not because everything is perfect, but because you're still here, still going. Are you ready to live as if everything you want is already on its way to you? Start with gratitude, right now. Number 5, live in harmony with nature. Living in harmony with nature isn't about control. It's about knowing when to let go. In Stoic philosophy, living in harmony with nature isn't a call to retreat into the wilderness or disconnect from modern life. It's a return to the natural order of the universe, where each person is part of the flow, not separate, not forceful. Not everything is within your control. Not everyone will understand you. Not every effort will bloom exactly when you want it to. But in the midst of all that uncertainty, there's always one small domain you command: your response. You choose your words. You choose how to face hardship. That's your inner strength, the steady ground beneath your feet when life's waves start to rise. Practicing harmony with nature begins with something deceptively simple: observing yourself in the present moment. When anger surges, you pause and see it. No judgment, no pushing it away. When sadness comes, you breathe with it and recognize that emotions are like passing clouds, not your definition. Marcia Linehan, a renowned psychotherapist, once taught her patients to watch their breath as a way to separate themselves from negative thought spirals. This isn't avoidance. It's how you reclaim control of your inner world before your thoughts take over. Stoicism doesn't tell you to blindly stay positive or to always be strong. It simply reminds you that there's a part of you that remains still, no matter how turbulent life becomes. And if you're quiet enough, you'll hear its voice. That's calm. That's reason. And that's where real power begins. Living according to nature doesn't mean surrendering. It's a deep acceptance. You can't force everything to go your way, but you can always choose to respond in the best way to what is. When you feel gratitude for the present moment, You take a giant step away from the constant dissatisfaction, the kind that keeps people chasing what they don't have and ignoring what they already do. Harmony comes when you let go of resistance, when you stop wrestling with should have, if only, and why me. You stop trying to control the weather, other people, or outcomes. All that's left is you, breathing in, breathing out, and you're okay. And when you practice that every day, even for just a few minutes, you'll feel the shift quietly, without drama, but unmistakably real. Like a lake slowly growing still, until finally, you can see your reflection clearly in it. Thank you for staying with me this far, halfway through the journey. I'm honored to be walking alongside you through every thought, every breath of this life philosophy. Your engagement truly helps spread this message further. And together, we can create real change, one smile at a time. And hey, were you thinking of clicking away just now? No way. That would be a big mistake. What's coming next is even more groundbreaking. Trust me, you'll want to stick around, because we're just getting to the best part. You won't believe what's ahead. These are the kinds of insights that can honestly shift the course of your life. So be patient. We're about to take things to a whole new level. Number 6, turn the philosophy into a habit. Ryan Holiday, the author behind The Daily Stoic, once shared that every morning as he sat down to write, he would see a line taped right in front of him. The obstacle is the way. What makes Ryan different isn't that he knows what Stoic philosophy says, it's that he lives it. He turns it into a habit, into something ingrained in his daily life. Living by Stoicism isn't just about reading a few quotes or watching an inspiring video. It's a process, a daily practice built step by step. And one of the simplest yet most powerful steps you can take is to practice gratitude and kindness. When you thank someone for even a small favor, when you send a message wishing someone a good day, that's not just politeness. That's a practice in virtue. In Stoicism, that's justice and kindness. You're living up to the ideals of a rational human being. You don't wait to feel inspired to do good. You choose to do good, and the inspiration follows. But how do you remember this? How do you keep the right mindset in a busy, chaotic day? Learn from how real practitioners of Stoicism do it. Turn reminders into vivid warnings. Instead of hanging up a vision board with luxury cars and big houses, tape quotes from Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus next to your bed or mirror. These words aren't decorations, they're directions. They remind you not to waste time, not to chase what you can't control. They steer you toward purpose, focus, and staying grounded amid the noise of the world. Just like an athlete stays in top form through daily workouts, a Stoic sharpens their mental strength through morning and evening rituals. In the morning, take a few minutes to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, who am I likely to meet today? How will I respond to things that don't go my way? That's your mental prep for the day's battles. At night, instead of scrolling through your phone, open your journal and reflect. Did I live rationally today? Is there something I shouldn't repeat tomorrow? These short notes are the foundation of discipline. No one becomes calm and strong by accident. They train, and they keep training. You don't need to read dozens of philosophy books. You just need to start with one sincere thank you, one small act of virtue, one sticky note with the right words at the right time. And from there, little by little, Stoic philosophy won't feel distant anymore. It'll become your rhythm, your way of being, an inseparable part of who you are. Each day, you won't just live. You'll live with direction, with strength. And when that happens, everything you truly need will come at the right time, in the right way, because you'll be ready to receive it. Number 7, reinforce and spread. Epictetus advised, "Be silent as to services you have rendered, but speak of favors you have received." In this chaotic world, gratitude should never become a tool to attract luck or manipulate the universe. It is a moral act, a rightful choice. Small acts of kindness, a thank you, a nod, a helping hand, expecting nothing in return, are how you train in justice every single day. And through those quiet gestures, you help mend a world that's breaking, little by little. When you've come a long way in your inner journey, pause. Look back at what you've endured. Maybe you're no longer as reactive as you once were. Maybe you've learned to sit still amid things you can't control. Maybe you've stopped chasing validation out there to feel complete in here. These shifts don't make noise. They don't seek attention. But they are your greatest achievements. And this is when you must double down on your belief in the process. Don't let the waiting make you question whether what you're doing matters. Don't let the nothing's happening fool you into thinking your actions are wasted. Every right choice you make today is quietly building tomorrow's results. You don't need to see it to trust it's working, like a seed resting underground. Not lazy, just preparing. Today, I choose to act justly, not for recognition, not for rewards, but because it is the right thing to do. This isn't a mantra. It's a commitment, a promise to do what's right even when no one's watching. A vow to stay rooted in character, even when the world shifts, a quiet trust in the process, even without proof. When you act with gratitude, you broadcast a frequency, not of wanting, but of wholeness. You don't need to shout to be heard by the universe. You just need to live rightly, consistently, kindly. Every kind gesture, no matter how small, is a form of strength. It doesn't need to boast. It just needs to be done. When you say thank you for an ordinary day, when you help someone expecting nothing in return, when you forgive a small mistake, because you know everyone is carrying their own struggle, that's when you turn gratitude into action. You've moved beyond just visualizing what you want. Now you live as though you already have enough. And because of that, you give, not to get something back. You give because you're no longer lacking inside. That's the essence of sustainable living. Not being grateful so you can receive more, but being grateful because you already have enough. And you'll see, the grateful don't need to control the future. They just keep doing the right thing in the present. And strangely enough, from that place, what you once longed for begins to arrive. Gently, naturally, without force. But what happens when things fall apart? When the dream you nurtured begins to crack? When you're betrayed, you lose, you fail, even after doing everything right? Is there still room for gratitude in the midst of chaos? In the next chapter, we'll step into the most difficult part, when adversity strikes. And it's in that moment that Stoicism stops being theory and becomes true strength in practice. Number 8, when adversity comes, what will you do when adversity strikes? You can fight it. You can blame the situation, blame others, or even blame yourself. But there's another choice, one that Stoics have practiced for thousands of years. You can see it as training, not for complaining, but for building strength, not to collapse, but to grow steadier. Pause for 6 seconds. Take a deep breath and ask yourself one question. What virtue is this moment giving me the chance to practice? Courage, patience, humility, or calm in the midst of chaos? There are things beyond our control, and we must accept them with dignity. But faith adds another layer. Everything happens for a reason. It's no accident that you're facing this challenge. It's no coincidence the path has taken a detour. Maybe it's how God is shaping you. Just as fire tests gold, hardship tests the heart. Simone Biles, the world's greatest gymnast, doesn't just train her body, she trains her mind. Every day, in her journal, she writes, "Today I focus on courage and discipline." She doesn't talk about medals, she doesn't write about competitors. She focuses on the virtues adversity is helping her build. And that's exactly what gets her through the moments when everyone else would have quit. God doesn't always give us comfort, but He always gives us what we need. When a door closes, it's not rejection, it's redirection. When someone walks away, maybe it's time you learn to stand on your own. And when you collapse in tears, maybe that's where you'll finally discover where true strength comes from. And you learn that through gratitude. Gratitude isn't just for the good things. True gratitude, in its deepest sense, is being thankful even for the uncomfortable, the inconvenient, the people who test you. Because it's through them that you get to practice Stoicism instead of just reading about it. And it's through them that you get to say to God, "I don't understand this right now, but I trust you are doing what's best for me." The room you're in, the space you live in, the loved ones you still get to see, these things may be small, but they are enough. God never promised a life without pain, but He did promise that in every circumstance you will not be alone. You'll always be guided if you're willing to listen. And when you're grateful, even in the darkness, fear loses its grip because you begin to understand. This too is part of a greater plan God has for me. Adversity is not the end. It's an invitation to grow. An invitation to live in alignment with your deepest values. And every time you choose awareness over reaction, you're sending a message to the universe and to God. I'm ready. And when you are truly ready, everything you need, not just what you want, will find its way to you. Not because you forced it, but because you became the kind of person who's ready to receive that grace. Number 9, keep going. There are 2 Stoic principles that, if you truly understand them, will stop you from panicking about what hasn't happened yet. Amor fati and memento mori. Amor fati means to love your fate, to embrace everything that happens, whether beautiful or brutal. Memento mori reminds us that death is never far away, and every moment we live is a gift. When you live with both of these mindsets, you realize not everything you hope for will arrive on time, but what's meant to come will come, and you'll have the strength to keep going, even if it hasn't arrived yet. Have you ever felt exhausted waiting for something, a chance, a relationship, a result after years of effort? You believe that if you try hard enough, everything will unfold just as you planned. But reality doesn't follow your script. And the most important thing isn't what the world gives you. It's who you become while waiting. When you choose gratitude, when you keep moving forward even without seeing the light, that is true greatness. In 2015, Oliver Sacks, a brilliant neurologist and writer, learned he was dying of cancer. His reaction wasn't despair. He wrote an essay titled My Own Life, in which he thanked everything, the people he had loved, the things he had learned, even the death approaching him. He didn't mourn. He didn't try to fight fate. He embraced it. That is amor fati. That is how someone stands firm in the storm, not by denying reality, but by accepting it with strength. You may not know where you're going. You may not control the outcome, but you control your next step. You can continue. You can be grateful for what you have, even if what you want hasn't arrived yet. And that gratitude becomes a frequency, a steady, clear frequency, one that doesn't depend on the outside world. You don't need a limitless universe to believe in tomorrow. You just need to believe that you can adapt to whatever tomorrow brings. Don't confuse persistence with stubbornness. Staying strong doesn't mean forcing yourself against the current. It means moving forward with awareness and acceptance. Every time you choose gratitude, every time you keep going, you are rebuilding yourself. And one day, when you no longer need anything to arrive, you'll look back and see that everything you needed, you had all along. So keep going. Not because you're guaranteed to get what you want, but because you're strong enough to face whatever comes. And in that state, you've already won. Life isn't a negotiation. It's a test of attitude, like a tree that stands tall in the wind, not because the wind weakens, but because its roots grow deeper after every storm. You don't know what's waiting ahead, but you know you're still alive, still breathing, still have one more chance to be grateful, to love life, and to keep going. Keep going. Because continuing in gratitude is already the gift. You see, everything we truly need, we already have within us. The things you're chasing are, in fact, just external. Neither good nor bad in themselves, they're simply tools. According to the Stoics, the only thing that truly holds value is virtue, clarity, integrity, and compassion. Gratitude isn't about pleasing the universe. It's about training your perception. It helps you pause, look back, and realize you are already enough. You don't have to wait for everything to fall into place to be happy. You can choose to be happy right now, in this moment. And then something strange happens. When you live with integrity, act calmly and kindly, good things start to show up. Not because you've attracted them by some kind of magic, but because you've become the kind of person who naturally welcomes them. So what do you think makes people fall into the illusion that having more will finally be enough? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read and respond to each of your insights. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss upcoming content on Stoic philosophy. And remember, the next video is waiting for you right at the end screen. Click on it. Your journey toward awareness isn't over yet.